Yo, what's up, YouTube? It is Breezy J, and I am going to be talking to you about the nightly procedures to having great oral hygiene with braces. Now, normally, if you don't have braces on, mainly what you do is you brush 2 or 3 times a day, and then that's it. Or if you're really good, you floss, brush your teeth, use Listerine, whatever. But when you are getting braces, there's a lot of things that you need to think about, which is, again, oral hygiene, and I covered this last video on what you need to know before you get your braces on. So if you didn't watch that, check it out. But basically, what a day consists of for great oral hygiene, to have a great light smile and healthy gums, is you have to have a routine, and it has to be done just like that all the time. It could be in any order, but it has to be done every day. And normally what I do is, in the morning, I would just brush my teeth and Listerine. After lunch, or usually midday, I would usually, like after I eat, you wait your 20-30 minutes or whatever it is before you brush your teeth. What I would do for the midday cleaning, I would just brush, and that's usually what I would do, just brush. If I'm at work, I just brush because I don't have my Listerine with me. I always keep a toothbrush and toothpaste at work in my locker or mailbox, whatever you want to call it. And then if I'm home, I would do the same thing as I would normally in the mornings, which is be brush and Listerine. At night is a little bit different. At night is more what I call invasive, or more tedious. There's a lot more to it, to your nightly cleaning, because you're going to bed, you're wanting to make sure that you get all that bacteria or sugar or whatever you eaten out of your teeth, because a lot of the times just brushing and Listerine don't get everything. So what I use, and the very first thing that I use, I'll get them. They're called platypus plackers, or flossers, and they look like this, and they're just, you can get them on Amazon pretty cheap. You get like 3, it has like 40 flossers for maybe like 15 or so bucks, and they're just like any other flosser, and they look like this. The only difference with a flosser and an orthodontic flosser is, this is called a platypus, because normally you would have this size on each side. Well, if you're flossing, you don't have a room for it to go between your wires. So what you would use is you would put the flatter end towards the braces, and it would get in between that, as what this size wouldn't. But before I do that, I am going to use this side. This is like a little serrated edge. It's not sharp, it's just sharp enough to get between the you know, these things and your wires, and you use that to get like maybe lettuce is stuck or any type of food. You use that to get in between, and it pushes the food out. And then I would go with the flossing, and you want to make sure you go in between each tooth and on each side of your upper part of your tooth, because that also traps bacteria or anything that could cause bacteria, like sugars or whatever. After that, I use a Plaque Pro. It's a looks like this. It's kind of like a pipe cleaner, but it's half the size. And this is what it looks like. They're really, really good. And you take this off. There's the little pipe cleaner. See if I can get that. Come on. There we go. And what this is for is it's like a little brush. Because in between, that way you can brush the sides of your brackets and on the back side of your arch wire. And that you can get into tighter slots too, like underneath this, underneath that, because toothbrushes may not get in it. and what I was just pointing at is called your band. And then when you're done, you can use it. With how mine are, mine only last. It says it can last about a week, but mine only lasts 3 days because I have tight. Mine goes farther back. I have all my teeth still. See, it goes way back there. So when you're trying to floss, it kind of bends the wire, and bending of the wire wears it out quicker. So mine usually lasts maybe 3 days tops, 3 or 4 days, depending on if I can get it not to bend at the metal wire. And then after that, I would that's a good benefit to use. For these things, let's go back to these. These platypus plackers are a lot more convenient than traditional flossing, because when you're using traditional string, you gotta weave the floss in between each wire, and a lot of times they have what they call like it's a thicker floss, but you loop it around that, and then you use the harder floss to it's a lot harder to explain. I'd have to show you it, but it's like a floss, and it's like it like got a loop at the very bottom. I don't remember what they're called. But that you use that to guide the floss, and it's just it takes too long. When I first used that, it took me almost 30 minutes to do every single tooth, and I have all my teeth, mind you, except one of the ones that got knocked out by a baseball. But beside the point, these are more beneficial because they're being held between, and you don't have to use your fingers. The next thing I would use is if I know I'm eating something very flimsy, like lettuce, for example, or if I do decide to have a snack, like let's say a piece of cake, and yeah, you can have some chocolate or a piece of cake. You just need to make sure that you clean very thoroughly and clean very good to prevent cavities. So I would use called a water flosser, and that would be after I done use the little pipe cleaner pick thingamajig. So the water flosser is a mechanical device. It's usually rechargeable, or you put batteries in. I like the rechargeable ones. And what you do is you fill it up with water, and you know how you go to a dentist and they use that to clean in between your teeth. It's exactly what it is, except it's not medical grade, but it's beneficial to get the gunk and the sugar, whatever you've eaten, out between your teeth and out between the tops of your gums and in between your arch wires and all that. Very beneficial. I usually use that maybe once a week. If I know I didn't need anything that is high in sugar or whatever, I don't usually use that unless I do. But yeah, and then after that, I would brush my teeth. Now, when you brush your teeth, you do it differently than you normally would. When you have braces, there's so many different steps that you have to do. Dentists recommend you working your way from the outside on one side in, do the same thing on this side, and so far I don't do that. I just think it takes a lot longer, so I just do it the way I do it, and it's worked. What I would do in a circular motion, I just have a general soft bristle toothbrush. You don't want anything harder than a soft bristle toothbrush, unless it's like an electric toothbrush, but that needs to be soft bristled. What I would do in a circular motion is I would start, and you gotta the fronts of brackets and wire, and then I would do the tops of them in a circular motion on the top, and then you angle it towards to do your bottom part. And then I would do the same for the bottom. After that, you don't need to do a circular motion. What I do is I just side by side, I do the gum line back and forth a couple times, and I do the same for the bottom. And then after that, and you can do this normally, the very bottoms of your teeth and the insides of your teeth. And I would also recommend doing the gums also on the tops and bottoms. I do that for both. The back part of your gums and the front part of your gums. That way you can get the bristles get in between your gums and your teeth and get all that stuff that's down below your gums. And then after that, you can brush your tongue if you wish. And then give it Listerine. I personally use Crest, alcohol free. It's Crest oral free, fluoride and cavity prevention, and it's really good flavor. It's what mainly most recommended by the dentist or orthodontic doctors as well. And then of course, if you have rubber bands, this is the kind that I use, C-Line, but they come in many different varieties and sizes. This is the particular one that they have me using, and I only use it on one side, which is weird, don't know why, but I guess one side. Yeah, and that's that. That's how I have really nice smile. I don't drink any sodas or any beverages that contain sugar or acid level or carbonated anything. I pretty much follow it to a T, and if you do that, yeah, it'd be good. Don't eat anything hard; it'll break your brackets off your teeth, and that'll cause a lot of damage also. So like ice, can't eat ice, can't eat. It's a big diet change. I mean, you got to refrain from eating that. It just is what it is. And that's the choice you make. If you want braces, do I want braces? If so, I need to cut all this out. Or you can eat it and risk it, but I don't recommend doing that, because if something does break and it was intentionally done, even if it was accidental, guess what? You gotta pay extra to get that fixed. So after I put this in, then I go to bed. And that's what I just did, and that's what I'm gonna do now. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. So with that being said, see you then. Goodbye for now, and have a good night, or have a good day, whichever side of the world you're on.